Requesting support weapon.
In this video, we will be taking the Force of Law Warbond into real war zones. Illuminate and bots. Light armor, 5 tools, 2 enemies. This is how it held up. Wearing the BP-20 Correct Officer light armor, we took the fully upgraded AR-32 Pacifier, level 23, alongside the rest of the Force of Law Warbond into 2 real war zones, the Illuminate and the bots. No shields, no heavies, just light gear, 5 tools, and 2 brutal fronts. This is how the Warbond really performs when democracy meets resistance. First up, the AR-32 Pacifier. Fully upgraded to level 23, it's a burst-fire assault rifle with moderate recoil, medium penetration, and excellent handling. On screen, you'll see the stats. 700 rounds per minute, 50 damage per shot. That puts its DPS just 9% below the Liberator Penetrator, making it a serious contender. Now let's see how it handles on the battlefield. Pacifier versus Squids. Against the Illuminate, the Pacifier performs admirably. Its burst fire accuracy drops Overseers and Watchers quickly with clean shots to the head or chest. Voteless go down in 2 to 3 bursts, and medium penetration helps chip into flesh mobs, though it lacks the sustained DPS to reliably bring one down alone. The real issue is when you're swarmed. Ammo drains fast, and it just doesn't have the stopping power to hold a full push. Use it with discipline. Stagger targets, prioritize floaters, and let the guard dog or de-escalator thin the crowd. Against bots, the Pacifier demands precision, but rewards it. With a 2x or 4x scope, you can land headshots on patrol units and tag weak points from range. It handles troopers and devastators well, and its burst fire is just enough to stagger medium units and create breathing room. But with only 40 rounds in the mag and lower overall DPS, it lacks the brute force needed for prolonged engagements or armor break. It does best as a scalpel, precise, efficient, and controlled, not as a frontline brawler. When paired with the de-escalator and guard dog, it finds its place in a mobile control kit that rewards smart positioning over raw firepower. In summary, the Pacifier proves solid against both squids and bots, rewarding precision and smart positioning. But against bugs, it was by far the weakest performer. Too little ammo, not enough stopping power, and no room for error in a swarm. The Pacifier handled precision, but sometimes you need to disrupt, not just dispatch. That's where the GL-52 De-Escalator steps in, an arc-based grenade launcher built for control. Stunning enemies, breaking formations and buying space. And with solid AoE and respectable damage, it does more than just delay. It works best on the ground. Voteless drop fast, and if you catch a grounded Overseer center mass, it's not getting up again. Floaters are another story. You might stun one mid-glide or clip a wing, but they shake it off too quick to make it count. Flesh mobs? You'll stagger them, maybe slow the rush, but you won't kill enough. Not without backup. And harvesters? Yeah, not great. You'll get a brief stun, but they just soak it and keep pushing. Stingrays. You can break 1 or 2 if you place the shots right, but even then, it's not your best option. Still, when things are crawling or closing fast, that arc buys you room. And sometimes that room is the difference between falling back or falling over. This is where the de-escalator earns its keep. Bots move in patrols, tight lines, layered fire. This launcher cuts through all of it. Troopers? Gone in a single arc. Devastators get stunned, sometimes even drop with splash if they're grouped. Hulks? If you hit the red eye, 2 or 3 shots will put them down. Miss the mark, and you'll burn half your reserves trying to finish it. But the stun still gives you a window to reposition. It's not made for tanks or factory walkers. You'll tickle them at best, but that's not its job. Mid to long range is where this weapon lives. You keep distance, slow the front, and shape the fight before it ever reaches you. Raw firepower? No. Tactical advantage? Every time. It's still a team killer. Poor Bob took more arcs to the back than the bots did up front. That said, It shines on the bot front. Squids come second. Manageable, but less reliable. Against bugs, forget it. Most fights are up close, and unless you like turning yourself into the blast radius, you'll do more damage to yourself than to them. Great tool. Just mind your line of fire, or Bob's gonna start filing reports. Let's talk about the G-109, Urchin. Sticky, sparky, and deceptively situational. Against squids, the Urchin doesn't do damage, but it stops enemies cold. Voteless and grounded overseers walk right into it, freeze up, and give you a clean follow-up window. Floaters still hover above the trigger zone, so it's unreliable there. But against flesh mobs, this is where it shines. It locks them down mid-charge, breaks their momentum, and I suspect that's exactly what it was built for. It won't win fights on its own, but used right, it controls the chaos just long enough to turn the tide. Against bots, the Urchin holds its own. Troopers, Devastators, even Hulks, they lock up the second it goes off. It won't kill them, but it buys you time to reposition or take the shot. In tight terrain, it's gold. Drop it in a corridor or uplink defense, and you can stall an entire patrol. But don't expect it to help with armor. Tanks and factory walkers ignore it completely. It doesn't explode, and it doesn't scratch plating. If you're bringing the Urchin, pack something else to deal with infrastructure, or you'll be staring at a factory with nothing but sparks. In summary, the Urchin feels purpose-built for units like Hulks, flesh mobs, and chargers, things that charge hard and hit harder. It's a niche tool, and while it can absolutely save your squad in the right moment, I'm not convinced it beats a good old-fashioned stun grenade. That's my take, but hey, if you found a better use for it, let me know in the comments. Always room to learn. If the Urchin buys you time by locking things down, the guard dog buys it by moving with you, zapping threats before they get too close. It's auto-firing, self-guided, and like every other guard dog, fully capable of killing you in one enthusiastic zap. Fun. Let's break down the AX/ARC-3 guard dog rover. Against squids, the guard dog puts in real work, more than you'd expect. Voteless get chain zapped. I've seen it drop 20, maybe 25 in a single surge. Overseers? Grounded or airborne, it stuns on the first hit and usually kills on the second. It's one of the few tools that can interrupt them mid-cast or dive. Flesh mobs stagger but don't drop. DPS isn't quite there. And watchers? One hit, and they're gone if they get too close. It won't scratch heavy armor like a harvester, but when it fires at the right time, it absolutely saves lives. Bots play out similar. Troopers drop instantly, and Devastators get stunned long enough for a clean follow-up. It tracks targets well, cycles fast enough to stay useful, and if you're moving through patrol-heavy zones, it earns its keep. It'll even stall a Hulk for a moment, but don't count on it to finish the job. Tanks and factory walkers? No chance. But for infantry tier bots, the guard dog hits harder and smarter than you'd think. It's a solid pick across all three factions. Effective on squids, reliable on bots, and even buys you moments against bugs. But that firing cycle? Slower than I'd like. 5, maybe 6 seconds between zaps. And in a real fight, that feels like waiting on permission to breathe. The AR and laser variants put out near constant fire. This one lags behind. And yeah, it's a team killer. Worse than the others, honestly. That arc chains, and if a squad mate's nearby, they're part of the circuit. Sorry, Bob. When the rifle runs dry and the bots get close, there's only one thing between you and failure. A good sidearm. The Warrant fits that role. High caliber, semi-auto, and unforgiving if you miss. It's not flashy, but in the right hands it punches far above its weight. Let's talk about the Warrant. Against squids, the Warrant feels like it was built for the job. You're not aiming for weak spots, just breaking through, and it does that well. Watchers drop fast, and overseers, grounded or airborne, go down clean once their armor's cracked. Voteless get deleted with a couple of rounds. It struggles against flesh mobs, though. Doesn't track well, and you'll burn the mag trying to keep up. Harvester, stingrays, you might as well be yelling at them. But for 90% of what squids throw at you, this sidearm delivers. With guided munitions, it aims for center mass, and while it hits, it just doesn't hit hard enough. Medium penetration means it takes too many shots to drop medium armor. It's solid against troopers and bot chaff, but once you're facing Devastators or Hulks, the lack of lock-on to weak points makes it feel underwhelming. Switch to unguided, though, and things change. You lose the auto-aim, but land your shots high, and the Warrant performs. Headshots crack helmets, and the medium pen finally pulls its weight. In the right hands, it's deadly, but you've got to make it earn every kill. The Force of Law gives us 3 armor sets, each styled like walking authority and built with the same passive: ballistic padding. That means 25% resistance to chest and explosive damage, and full bleed protection from chest shots. In practice, you feel a bit tougher, but not enough to sway most veterans from meta passives like siege-ready, medic, or engineering armor. Still, let's break each one down. The BP-32 jackboot, light armor. Tactical speed kit, built for crowd pushers and breachers. You won't be standing long, so keep moving. High stamina regeneration makes it feel great in motion. But if you're expecting the passive to save you in a firefight, it won't. Better light options exist. BP-20 Corrections Officer, medium armor. Classic riot control build. Balanced, clean lines and reliable enough. Feels steady under fire, but it's just fine. Aesthetically strong, functionally serviceable. If you like medium gear and want a clean Super Earth look, it's not bad, but others offer more return for your medals. BP-77 Grand Juror, heavy, superstore. Looks like it reads you your rights before it flattens you. It's a statement piece, but it moves like one too. Tankier than average and looks incredible. But once you lose that movement and utility, you're trading survivability for style. If you want to feel unstoppable, there are better ways. I'll be honest, this one grew on me. At first glance, it didn't scream game changer. But after getting into the dirt with it, I feel like the Force of Law gives us something we actually needed. More tools for control, more ways to shape the battlefield. I like that. I like having options that aren't just raw damage or panic buttons. Arc, stun, delay. Those tools buy time, and time saves lives. I don't love everything here. The armor's fine. I wear it for the look, not the perk. The Warrant, sometimes it hits just right. Sometimes I'm wondering why I brought it. Pacifier is the low point. Not bad, just outclassed. It's precise, but there are better options for stun and control. The Pummeler, for example, fills that slot harder and cleaner. Still, compared to something like Masters of Ceremony, this Warbond has actual operational value, not fashion, function. And with a few tweaks, it'll hold its ground for the long haul. If you made it this far, you got more stamina than most of my squad. Thanks for sticking through the full breakdown. If you got thoughts, drop them. What's your favorite part of the Force of Law? What's not working for you? I read every debrief, even the messy ones. Share this with your squad mates, especially the one who still thinks the Pacifier is a suppression tool. And as always, distribute this after-action report to all allied units, log visual records for future recruits, and ensure command receives full combat documentation. Or I'll load you into a guard dog's targeting queue and see how much chain lightning it takes before you learn spacing.
The tools of law are blunt by design, but even blunt force can serve justice if wielded with purpose. I see utility in these weapons. Not perfection, but intention. And that is enough. May those who carry them do so with wisdom, and may they strike only when righteousness demands it.